Another long day has begun. I turned on the computer in an empty office. My name is Sasaki Shizuku. I'm a sales manager in charge of a certain regional sales office. Come to think of it, today is the day that a new person from the headquarters arrived. A glance at the calendar reminded me of a personnel change notice. I'm grateful to have more people, but I'm sure he'll be useless again. I sigh and start typing on the keyboard. Shortly thereafter, someone came into the office. Unusual for someone to be here this early. Who could it be?
Oh, hello. My name is Ryota Yanagira. I'm newly assigned here starting today.
A man in a tight suit bowed politely in front of me. Oh, you must be Ryota-kun. I'm Sasaki Shizuku, the director. Nice to meet you.
Yes, I look forward to working with you.
Wow, he looks pretty good. He looks responsible and greets me properly. I didn't feel that he was looking down on me because I'm a woman. But one thing is bothering me. I heard that you're not very good at your job at the headquarters because you were always helping other people with their work. But are you going to be okay here?
Well, I do my best anyway.
Yes, I guess so. Well, don't be too uptight and take it easy. I don't want you to get sick, and there's no guarantee that you'll be able to return to the headquarters even if you do your best.
It doesn't matter if I can go back or not. It's a job, and I work for what I'm getting paid to do.
I see. Then I'm counting on you.
Yes.
Ryota-kun responded cheerfully and walked to his seat where he was instructed to go. He might be different from the others so far. Well, let's wait and see. With that in mind, I resumed my work. Sometime later, I was organizing materials in the reference room with Ryota-kun. I feel kind of bad asking you to help me when you have other work to do.
No worries. I have some time to spare.
I see. Thank you for your help. Other employees, even if they have free time, they're either sleeping or skipping off somewhere. I was quite grateful for Ryota-kun's willingness on volunteering to help.
Oh, by the way, I've been wondering...
What?
You work from morning to night every day, and you support other employees too. Besides, most of the achievements made in the sales office were produced by you. If you're so talented, why were you demoted in a rural area like this?
Oh, that. Ryota-kun tilted his head curiously as I chuckled, remembering the past. Well, to put it simply, my department head was a sexual harasser. At first I put up with it, but finally it went over my limit, and I sued him. Then he started resenting me.
What? Then why is Shizuku-san the one being transferred? The department head should have been the one.
Yes, but he has good connections.
Indeed, he does.
Ryota-kun became gloomy hearing my past. Ryota-kun, why did you get demoted to a place like this? I've only been with you for a few months, but you learn your work quickly and greet people positively. My clients are giving you good reviews that there is finally someone that they can talk to properly. Ryota-kun did not seem like the kind of person who would be demoted here. It's so strange to think that you would be demoted to this place.
Why?
You know why. For most of the employees here, this is the final destinations for those who have been evaluated as useless at the headquarters or other sales offices. If they don't make any good results here, they'll be fired. Many people quit when they are notified that they'll be transferred here in the first place.
Oh, I've certainly heard that rumor a lot.
But after actually working here, you realize that it wasn't a lie, right?
Yes.
Ryota-kun laughed bitterly, and I can't help but chuckle too. Only Ryota-kun and I were the ones working properly. Well, whatever the reason, having you here has helped me. To be honest, I had a hard time working from early in the morning to late at night every day, because all of my subordinates were useless. Recently, you've been supportive and helping me work more efficiently, which has been very helpful.
I see. I'm glad to be of any help.
Really? Well, from now on, I'll expect a lot from you.
Yes.
Now, let's get the rest of the stuff sorted out quickly. Ah! I moved sideways to put the materials I was holding in my hand back on the shelf, and I stumbled over my own feet and fell down.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah, thank you. For some reason, Ryota-kun, whose face is bright red, picked me up in his arms. What's the matter? You're acting so strange.
What? Well, I'm not used to if you leave your legs so exposed.
Huh? Oh, this! Only then had I realized in my current position, my underwear might have been visible for Ryota-kun's position. Sorry. I stood up while apologizing. It should be alright now, but Ryota-kun has still acted strange. Oops. Well, I guess this is your reward for working hard. With that, I quickly put the materials back on the shelf and returned to my seat. Then a few days later, panic ran through the peaceful office. What is this? I didn't check this.
I'm sorry, you looked busy, so I submitted to the client on my own decision.
This is impossible. Do you realize how important this material is? If we lose this, the very survival of this office will be in jeopardy. So how can you make a mistake like this? My subordinate just kept on apologizing in front of me, who is in a light panic. That's enough. I'll remake a new presentation. The client said I could resubmit it. Oh, but it's due today. I'm not sure if I can make it in time if I start to remake it now. There are piles of other things to do on the desk, even though there's a lot of work to be done.
Please leave it to me.
As I was about to cry, Ryota-kun walked up to me.
I have a lot of time on my hands right now. Besides, I studied about the company the other day.
I see. Then I leave it to you. I know I can count on you.
Yes, I do my best and meet you up to your expectations.
Please. I entrusted it to Ryota-kun with my fingers crossed. Ryota-kun then continued to move back and forth between the reference room and his office. I'm sorry. Wish I could support you more.
Don't worry about it. Besides, it can't be helped that you have a lot of other things to do. So please don't worry over here and concentrate on yourself so that you don't have to lose other work.
Yes. Thank you. I can really count on him. I felt sorry for him, but with trusting the reliable Ryota-kun, I concentrated on my own work. Ryota-kun successfully completed a document 1 hour before the deadline.
How is it?
Wow, it's perfect! It's easy to understand and there are no mistakes. I'm surprised. It took the previous person a week to put this together, and you've done it perfectly in such a short time with no mistakes.
Thank you. Is it safe to submit this?
Yes. Can you do that for me?
Yes, I will set it right away.
Smiling happily, Ryota-kun returned to his seat. I stared at Ryota-kun's back and still felt shocked. I never thought he'd be this good. I was surprised, but Ryota-kun really helped me. After that, I went back to my work in peace. And that night, after regular hours, only Ryota-kun and I remained at the sales office. Here we go, coffee.
Oh, thank you.
I made a cup of coffee and offered it to Ryota-kun, who was still working. I had you help me with other jobs, so you couldn't do your own. I'm sorry about that, but you really helped me out today. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, this made it clear.
What?
It means that your assessment at the headquarters is wrong.
You think?
Yes, you may have indeed been supporting others all the time, but you were able to do that because of your high capability to do so. Because you support others so well, they got promoted and you ended up in the shadows. He who knows most speaks least, right?
That's too much praise.
That's not true. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks to you, my workload has been reduced and my sales performance has improved a lot.
Good to know. Well, since there are only a few of us here, there are many opportunities for me to work activity, and I would be happy if I could ease your burden as a result.
For some reason, my heart fluttered when Ryota-kun laughed. 2 weeks later, Ryota-kun's presentation was evaluated with great success, and he was selected to receive the order for the project. Since it was a fairly large project, the sales office performed much better after the project was launched. Hey Ryota-kun, why don't we go out for a drink at least today?
Okay, but this is unusual.
Well, I'm a little worried about something.
What? Even though the business performance with sales office has been recovering quite well recently?
Yes, certainly. I've been getting good reviews from other departments lately. Thanks to you, I have regained their trust. But at the same time, there are talks of pulling you out. As for me, I want you to stay, but this is troubling me.
Oh, about that. But I'm worried that if I leave you alone, you might collapse. So if you let me, I would like to work for you forever.
Ryota-kun, thank you, I'm glad. Ryota-kun's smile made my heart flutter again. Since then, Ryota-kun refused to offer to transfer and remained at the sales office, and he became my best business partner. Thanks to him, the sales office's performance was soaring. Then one day, I was called by the president of the company.
I'm thinking of enlarging of the sales office and turning to the branch office. Of course, you'll be the general branch manager, but I'm having a hard time deciding on the deputy general manager. Who would you recommend?
Then by all means, please make Ryota Yanagida the deputy general manager. I had no hesitation in answering that. A few years later, Ryota-kun was appointed deputy general manager, as I hoped.
You recommended me to the deputy general manager, right? Why was it me?
Because I thought it could only be you after seeing how hard you've worked up until now. So, I want you to continue to support me from now on too, even in my private life if possible.
Huh?
I couldn't help but laugh at Ryota-kun, who sounded surprised at my words.
I was on my way home on a Friday evening. This was my favorite moment of the week. Right then, I got a phone call from my mom, who usually sends me messages. I answered the call and... Hi mom, did something happen? She gave me a surprising answer.
You don't have any plans tonight, right? I hear Komachi-chan has caught a cold, so go over to their house and take care of her.
Why me? Koma? I mean, what about Sakugawa's mom? Or even you?
I wouldn't ask you if we are able to do that. Akiko-san is in the hospital for an operation, and I'm already at school for Amane's parent-teacher conference.
Akiko-san is Komachi's mom. She's a doctor. Amane is my younger sister. To think about it, I remember seeing the notice for a parents-teacher conference. But...
Just go there, okay? I don't even want you to go into a high schooler's room, let alone a girl's room. But they say, if it's Haruta, it's not a problem.
if I had a little more time to think about it, I might have been able to come up with a better plan, but I decided I was just wasting my time. I gave in to my mom and asked her, okay, I'll do it. What should I do?
Grab the isotonic drink in our fridge and make her some rice porridge. And oh, don't forget to put a mask on.
She took a deep breath and said,
Don't do anything stupid.
I won't. Just shut up. I hung up and hurried home. What my mom said at the end of the call had gotten into my head. Would I, nor could I do anything stupid. What do I mean by that? Komachi Sakugawa is my crush, and I don't want her to hate me any more than she does already. I got home, threw my bag on the floor of my room, took some rice out of the fridge and began making the porridge while thinking about Komachi. We are the typical childhood friends. We live across the road and have been in the same school from kindergarten to junior high. I'm off to play with my friends, or a friend will be coming over today. Would always mean going to each other's house. That continued until we graduated junior high. Everything changed on the graduation day. We fought over something trivial, and since then, we don't speak at all. Time flew by, and it has already been a year since we last spoke. Now we are in high school and have different lives. It was so easy to avoid each other. I let out a silent sigh and sealed the rice porridge. I took out an isotonic drink and a jello out of the fridge, put my shoes on, and opened the door. Although I have gotten bigger, the house on the other side of the road felt farther away than ever. We live in a small town on the countryside. I knew the doors wouldn't be locked. I pulled the door to the side and went in. Excuse me. I put on my mask and went up to Komachi's room. I put my hand on the door and took a deep breath. I opened the door and saw her across the room, lying on her bed asleep. Komachi. When I was a child, I never imagined that a time would come in my life where it would be so difficult just to call her name. Komachi. Komachi. I didn't get an answer. All I could hear was the sound of Komachi breathing. It's Haruta. I came over to check on you. Komachi moved a little, and I felt that she slightly loosened herself up and broke into a smile. Wait! What am I supposed to do? Should I wake her up? Or wasn't I supposed to wake her up before I came in the room? I was starting to feel awkward when Komachi let out a quiet little voice.
Haruta.
I was at a loss for words. When was the last time she called my name like that? My heart was getting filled with joy. I was feeling nervous, but then the room was filled with silence once again. So I decided to wake her up for once.
I like you.
Gasp! I gulped down my breath. The steam was rising from the rice porridge. Oh, she just sleep talking. That had to be it, I told myself. Of course, she would never say that she liked me. That is just impossible. I probably just misheard her. It would have been nice if her crush would have come to take care of her. Why am I the one taking care of her? Okay, I'm just here to take care of her and go home. That's it. I made up my mind to wake her up and ignore the pain I was feeling in my chest. Komachi. This time I called out louder than before. She slowly opened her eyes and... Are you awake? Your mom and my mom asked me to look after you, so I brought you some things. Sakogawa. It took a few seconds for Komachi to understand the situation, and then... She opened her eyes wide and pulled the blanket up to her chest. Our eyes meet. Here's a nice tonic drink for you. And I made some rice porridge. Do you want to have some? I came closer to her so that I could hand them over, but...
Stop! Don't come near me.
She said, Oh, yes. We do know each other since childhood, but we aren't friends anymore, so it's not surprising that she would treat me like a stranger now. Apparently, humans are built to smile when they are extremely sad. I put on a fake smile and said, Sorry, my bad. As I was able to stand up and leave everything here for her, she says,
No, that's not it. You see, I sweat a lot during my sleep.
She spoke very quietly. Her voice showed how embarrassed she was. It took a little time until it registered in my brain what she meant. Oh, I see. Back in the day, we used to have conversations which went on forever. But now I couldn't come up with what to say next. I'm so dumb. My emotions are going up and down every second. And the pain in my chest is still there. I'm leaving. Everything I brought will be over here. I chose to leave her alone. Komachi looked a little surprised at first, but then her expression showed how upset she was. After a few seconds of complete silence, I stood up and walked toward the door. Take care. Right at that moment,
Wait!
Komachi said. This time, there was no silence and Komachi continued saying,
I want you to stay for a little longer.
The fragile voice of my crush, the voice that I hadn't heard in the ear. I was feeling all sorts of emotions, but I chose to sit down once again. I'm sorry for what I did to you.
I'm sorry for what I did to you.
Again, we spoke at the same time. It was the words I always wanted to say to her, and what I wanted to hear from her. Our eyes met, and Komachi continued.
Honestly, I was jealous. Now that I think about it, all of this was so silly. You probably know by now. But the second button of school uniform, which you gave to that other girl, I wanted it. I wanted you to confess your love to me.
As she said so, I was remembering what had happened last year on graduation day.
Hey, why did you leave me behind?
After the graduation ceremony, I was walking home when Komachi spoke to me from behind. You never told me to wait for you.
I was searching for you all over the place.
I didn't know that. And you were busy talking with Sakishima anyway. Once I mentioned another guy's name, Komachi looked upset.
Of course I was talking with my friends. It's graduation day.
I ignored her and walked on. Komachi looked at my chest and spoke out.
Are you okay going home with me? Instead of going home with the girl you gave your second button to?
It is a Japanese tradition for a guy to give the second button of the school uniform to his crush. Komachi was mentioning that. But I answered her in a mean way, because I felt jealousy towards the other guy she was talking to. It's none of your business. Besides, you are the one who chose to go home with me. I tried to act calmly, and so did Komachi. I was acting way more firmly than usual, but I tried even harder to sound tough.
Alright then. I don't know why I feel so irritated on such an important day. This is so dumb.
Our childish argument kept going on. Only if one of us would apologize, it would end. But we weren't able to do so. Komachi's eyes were tearing up.
I'm done talking with you.
She said, and ran away. Finally, I came back to myself. We were both being stubborn, and all that did was hurt both of our feelings. But we just couldn't grow up and apologize. I kept on procrastinating for a whole year, and now I finally got the chance to do the right thing. Komachi was also remembering what happened a year ago from her point of view. As she was about to leave the school, her friends was encouraging her.
This is finally it. It will work out, definitely. Alright, go get him. I nodded to my best friends for cheering me on and ran out of the school gate. Today, I'm going to confess my love to him. I spoke out to myself with a small voice. From next month, my childhood friend and I are going to be going to different high schools. So, now was my only chance. Whichever way it turns out, we definitely won't be just childhood friends anymore. That's the reason why I kept procrastinating until today. But today, that is going to end. Today is the last time I could spend the same time with him. And if I don't tell him today, I will probably go into regret. So, when I asked him about his second button, and he told me that it was none of my business, my mind totally went blank. Are you okay going home with me? Instead of going home with the girl you gave your second button to? I said so, while knowing I was acting like the type of girl no guy would like. I didn't want to even imagine what I looked like in his eyes. Because I was already nervous, thinking that I was going to confess my love to him, I totally lost my calm, and that was the same for Haruta, who usually was kind to me. When we fight, we usually apologize quickly and become friends again within 10 minutes. But because of all the emotions I had, I wasn't able to act properly. Needless to say, I wasn't able to tell him how I felt. And for that past year, I didn't know what to do, while time kept flying on.
Right now, finally, we are facing each other.
We are both childish, don't you think?
Yes, we were too stubborn.
Do you remember when you greeted me good morning? I'm sorry for ignoring you that time. I just didn't know how to answer you.
That's not the problem at all. Why don't you eat some porridge I made for you?
Thank you. I will have some. It's warm.
Although a little awkward, we were finally able to hold a conversation. Komachi finished eating, and we finished talking, and the room became silent again. So, alright then. I'll be leaving. Take care. I stood up to leave the room when Komachi opened her mouth. She closed it and opened it once again and said,
You see, I was just having a dream right before you woke me up.
Komachi continued on. She looked less pale than before.
I was dreaming about what had happened 1 year ago. Maybe time has already run out, but I like you, Haruta.
The silence in the room intensified. The words that had been on the tip of my tongue for so long slipped out of my mouth. I believe time hasn't run out because all of my regrets for the past year and all of my emotions were finally released. I like you too, Komachi. Could I have gotten the cold from her? I felt my temperature rise all over my body. I could still hear Komachi's teary, smiling voice saying,
My fever is probably coming back again.